the Dogs and Stingray are coming for you. This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Good afternoon, Mr. Feinbaum. Stingray here, and I'm about to shoot the bull with you like all the Auburn students do down at Auburn. Worst defense ever! So without further ado, here is the biggest Alabama going for the field goal. The kick is up. It is away. It is no good. Chris Davis bringing it out of the end zone. Oh, he's got blockers. Chris Davis up the sideline. Here he goes. Here we go, guys. Dobbs back to pass. Launching the ball. Jennings. He's got it. Jennings. He's got it. Touchdown, Tennessee. They shocked the Dogs in Sanford Stadium. Are you kidding me? My God almighty. What an epic way for the Tennessee-Georgia rivalry to end this game. What a play. Wow. Welcome inside another exciting edition of the Stingray Show, everybody. I am your host, Stephen Ray, and as you can see, I'm actually going back to my roots for a little bit. I'm actually wearing the Mississippi State attire. So without further ado, let me go on ahead and pull up my Mississippi State graduate host, Heath Hopkins. Heath, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right, Stephen. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic, and we actually have two big-time Mississippi State players on the show this week, and it's going to be a fun time for sure.
Yeah, both these players had exciting careers. They were both fun to watch. Brought a lot of energy on the field. What did the kids say? Juice? They brought a lot of juice.
Yes.
But a lot of excitement out of both of these, and look forward to talking to both.
Well, today, the guy that we have on actually transferred into Mississippi State with 2 years of eligibility left. And in those 2 seasons, he is third at Mississippi State in career rushing touchdowns. And his 19 touchdowns in 2010 are a single season record with the school. He was the MVP of the 2011 Music City Bowl, and he was an All-American. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Vick Ballard. Vick, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I expected to hear some applause coming when I came on, but I'll settle for your intro.
Thank you, man.
We'll put that into post-production.
Oh, okay.
So, Vick, what are you doing nowadays?
Like I mentioned earlier, I'm back in school for mechanical engineering. I wanted to go to school for engineering initially, but my schedule really didn't permit me to do so. But it's wide open now, so I took that plunge.
Vick, is there any guys from your NFL playing days that you still stay in touch with?
Yeah. A couple names that a lot of guys probably wouldn't know unless you was a super fan. But one of my best friends, his name is Cameron Johnson. I talk to him pretty regularly. I still talk to some of the old heads like Reggie Wayne and Robert Mathis periodically. And also I went up there last August or something like that. I can't remember the exact day, but I was able to see a lot of the guys and that I played with, including the some of the staff that was there. So it's kind of like a little small family reunion.
What was it like playing in Indianapolis?
It was cold, man. Cold as hell, but it was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I was hurt most of the time, but even just being around the team, man, it's like I really felt like those guys was family.
Well, let's go back to your Mississippi State days. Talk about your recruitment there to Mississippi State and what that was like.
I was actually telling somebody this story the other day, but it kind of happened by chance, man. It's when I was still at Perk. I went back to my high school to visit my high school coach, and Kennan, who was the offensive coordinator back then, was at the high school that same day, visiting another player, from my high school, and while he was there, we exchanged contact information, and from then, that's when I started the communication with Mississippi State, and about I'll say 2 or 3 weeks later, they offered me a scholarship. So, um, and when they offered it to me, I committed like probably a day or two after because of a situation that happened to me in high school. I didn't want it to happen to me this time. And then somebody gave me a scholarship. And I was like, I'm not letting you take it back. So I just went ahead and committed. Yeah.
Vic, we were talking before the show.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Kroom originally recruited you, but you signed with Coach Mullen, correct?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you can say that.
What was your favorite Coach Mullen moment? Is there a moment that you guys still kind of text about and laugh about? Him throwing a fit or anything. What's your favorite Coach Mullen moment?
I mean, it was kind of. I don't feel like we had an overly close relationship. It was just a typical player coach relationship.
Yes.
I had a closer relationship with my position coach, so got a lot of stories about him.
What's one of your favorite ones? Who was your position coach?
His name was Greg Knox. He's actually employed with Mullen right now. I don't know, really, just like the stuff he would say. We always made jokes about he had to learn how to cuss because it's like he wouldn't cuss in a typical way. He would like make his own versions of cursing. But I don't know. It was just a lot of things. But a super talented coach, obviously. Though he had been in the SEC for years. That speaks enough. I mean, that speaks alone. So, I missed them guys, man.
With Coach Knox, do you stay in touch with Coach Knox?
Every now and then. I actually, so I was working for the NFLPA last year. I worked for him about 9 or 10 months, and I had to go down to the coaching convention out of Nashville, and him and Coach Mullen and everybody was actually there. I didn't see Coach Mullen, but I saw Coach Knox, so it was cool. Same old coach.
Do you ever remind Coach Knox that he technically and officially is the greatest coach of Mississippi State history? He's undefeated, 1-0 as a head coach at Mississippi State.
I forgot that even happened. But now that you bring it up, I probably should. I always tell myself. I'm because Gainesville is just probably an hour down the road.
Right.
I always said I was gonna go up there, to see him, but I haven't yet. So maybe one of these days I'm gonna wait to do it in person.
Well, when you go back and talk about your playing career at Mississippi State, when someone says the most exciting game you ever played in, what would that be?
Maybe Georgia.
Yeah.
2010.
Yes.
Or Arkansas in 2010. Unfortunately, we lost one of them, but we went into like double overtime with Arkansas, and it was, I don't know, it was dramatic, man. But it was a good Arkansas team. I think they finished like top 5 in the country that year.
Yeah, they did.
So the fact we was able to almost come away with a win. It's really that year we had a lot of close games with top 5 teams because Auburn, who won it all, only beat us by 3 points. Arkansas had to beat us in double overtime. So that team was pretty good that year. But Alabama and LSU, they was probably top 5 too. They put it on us pretty bad. But outside of that, we competed with everybody we played.
Well, I was watching the highlights earlier this morning of the I'm sorry I have to bring this up, but the fumble there in overtime, and I honestly still believe that you were down. Do you feel like you were down on that play?
Nah, so I actually wasn't down. I was in the air when he hit me. But how it works is, if you fumble the ball through the end zone, it's a touchback. I
Yes.
think that's a crazy rule. It's a crazy rule, but I didn't even see the guy that was coming because I broke one tackle and I was kind of sliding on one hand, probably like 5 yards or so, and I saw the goal line and dove for it, and like I said, the guy hit me. The ball went through the end zone. Kind of like one of those chance things because if the ball would have been deflected at a different angle, it probably would have went out at like the 1 yard line. So
Yes.
um, sometimes sometimes you give maximum effort and think the ball don't roll in your favor, and that was one of those times.
Yes.
Vic, if I'm not mistaken, in that Arkansas game, that double overtime game that you're referring to, if I'm not mistaken, State had a run on the field with the clock running down with no timeouts to kick a field goal just to send that game to overtime. The play before the field goal, were you out there on the field? And I mean, how maddening was that? Because I know the crowd's going crazy, but could you guys hear to get off the field?
I don't remember, to be honest. I don't remember if I was in the field or not. But we practice, game situations like that all the time. So the fact that I don't remember it was probably because we repped it so much at practice, and it was just second nature. Like just understanding the understanding the game, and understanding we got no timeouts. We need to kick a field goal to send it into overtime. So everybody was probably just out there reacting.
Yeah. Hey, that Georgia game, I remember that Georgia game. There was a lot of hard hits in that Georgia game.
Oh yeah.
But that game got a little nasty toward the end. What was that like for you guys after the game was kind of in hand and you guys are trying to run out the clock? You remember anything about that game?
Mm-hmm. No, at that point, no, I don't remember much, to be honest, because that was the first game. That was the first game I actually played a significant amount of time. So I was just happy to not really make any mistakes. So I think I had 2 touchdowns that game.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I do remember is I think on one of maybe the first touchdown I ran, it was like an option route. Ref pitched it to me, and I sprinted to the pylon and was able to get in. But on the way to the pylon, I threw my finger up like, yeah, like number one. And when I got back to the sideline, the coach chewed me out because you can't really celebrate in college football. So he was thinking that for the next time, like be careful doing stuff like that because the touchdown might get called back.
Yes.
Wow.
I didn't even think about it.
Hey, Vic, of all your touchdowns at Mississippi State, because you had a lot of them, what's one of the ones that you kind of look back and really smile on? Whether it be a great play that you made or it was just a fun time or putting the game away or getting ahead. What touchdown stands out the most to you during your playing time?
Every single one of them, man. Hey, no one is like the other. It's like they all different. They all feel different. But I would say probably my last one. It was
In the bowl game, right?
It was like 72 yards or something like that, 78 yards. Something. I think it was my longest touchdown too, matter of fact. Yeah, so probably that one because I don't know. Who doesn't like breaking 80-yard
Right.
Well, let's talk about another game that was a big game for you guys in 2010. The game where y'all had a big lead on Ole Miss, and then they came back towards the end, but ultimately you guys prevailed 31-23. Talk about that Egg Bowl win for you guys in 2010.
I mean, it's Mississippi State Ole Miss, so
yeah,
leading up into the game, you got all the antics, all the rituals, all the trash talking throughout the whole week, and when it came game time, it was out there kicking ass, taking names.
yeah.
And Ladarius Perkins had a great game. The defense they were playing pretty good initially, and I think somewhere maybe around the third quarter, I think we kind of took our foot off the gas for a second, and if you go back and look at some of the pictures from that game, with Coach Mullen and Coach Hevesy, they had mugs on their face the whole time
Right.
because even though we were winning, there was MF and everybody like like get it together, right? Because like everybody else, they didn't want the game to slip away from us, but we pulled it off in the end, so it's all good.
Hey Vic, what was your welcome to the Egg Bowl moment? What was something where it just kind of hit you like, wow, this is for real? What was that moment for you?
I don't think I had one, man. 'Cause, I mean, the games we played, for the most part, we pretty much dominated. My two years there, so it wasn't like I don't know, it's like something happened that was overwhelming or just like out of the ordinary. I will say though, I had I guess you can call it welcome to the SEC.
What's that? What's that?
Well, first off, I would go back to my junior year which was my first year playing LSU, like in LSU. That was crazy to me because you grow up as a high schooler, you grow up looking at all these great players that came from LSU and just their uniforms and everything. I play them on the video game, and now I'm playing against them in real life. Like that was crazy for me. But my senior year, Eric Reed, the safety, he cleaned me up, man. Like he smacked me.
Yeah.
He got a good shot on me, and I would definitely say that was probably the hardest hit I took my whole time at Mississippi State.
And so, what's the hardest hit you've ever taken?
Probably that one, man. It was either that one or another hit I had in Indianapolis. I ran like an angle route, for those who know football, it's like a little route off the backfield, and it was in the red zone, and I thought I had a chance at scoring because I saw the goal line. And I was like, I'm gonna squeeze my way in here, to cross the goal line. And I don't remember who the player was. I just remember he played linebacker, and his number was 92. And any linebacker that was number in the 90s, they hit hard. That's what it seems like. but yeah, he ate me up, man. It's like I had to come off the field after that play.
Well, we don't usually talk very much about the NFL, but I do want you to talk about the Indianapolis Colts when you were there, your game-winning touchdown in overtime against Tennessee. Walk us through that play, please, and what happened there and what it was like after you actually got in the end zone to score the game-winning touchdown.
All right, so I would have to back up. Really, so I would have to back up the state because we played at Auburn in 2011, and I did something similar, but they said I went out at the inch-yard line.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
you were in, weren't you?
All day. Like how can you calculate somebody going out at the inch-yard line? It's like just give them a touchdown at that point.
That game still drives me crazy because not only did you score, but heaven forbid if we just made that pitch on that last play, could have moonwalked into the end zone. But anyway, yeah, go on. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, that's all good. So that week before we played Tennessee, actually, Bruce Arians, congratulations to him. He just won the Super Bowl. He was my offensive coordinator in Indy. And I can't remember who it was. Sometime earlier in the week, I think he was watching Virginia Tech or somebody play a game, and he had got the idea of putting his play in. Just kind of something he drew up in the sand. We practiced it one time at practice.
Oh wow!
Only one time. Yeah, and it worked. And we were like, okay, so maybe we'll come back to it, maybe we won't. We never practiced it again. So, fast forward to the game in Tennessee, we like I said, we go into overtime, and I didn't start out overtime. We had another running back, Donald Brown. He started out, boom, like broke this long run, put us in the red zone, and once we get in the red zone, they put me in. Mm-hmm. And the first play he called is, this play that he basically drew up in the sand and we practiced one time, the first play of overtime, and we like, is he serious? Like we only played this shit. We only practiced one time. Like he can't be serious trying to do this. And so if you go back and look at it, well, you know, spectators probably don't know, but really nothing really went right on that play. like it was this guy that was supposed to like make a block. He missed the block. The pass almost got intercepted or tapped down at the very minimum. You know, people were just all over the place, but luckily, you know, Luck was able to squeeze the ball in. And as I was running, I kind of figured that, you know, I was going to run out of space. And another thing, just probably off intuition, I knew that they were going to try to push me out of bounds because I was so close to the, you know, to the out of bounds line. And for that reason, when it was a guy chasing me and another guy coming at an angle, like a 90-degree angle, and another one kind of coming from in front of me. So I was able to outrun the guy that was chasing me. The guy that was coming at an angle, I figured he was going to try to push me out, so that's why I jumped. And when I jumped, it's like his momentum is what turned me over, like completely. And once I was in the air, the guy that was coming directly at me, you know, he is the one that kind of like hit me. When he hit me, he forced me down in the pylon. So I mean, everything just kind of worked out perfectly. And I came down, I saw the referee throw his hands up, so I threw my hands up too. Said, "Hey, touchdown!" And they reviewed it, and it stuck. So that's how we won it, man. It was awesome.
Vic, you were on ESPN Sports Science for that one play, and there was so much hype about that. But how cool is that? That, you know, you got these lab rat science nerds at ESPN breaking down everything about that play, and that was a huge thing. What was that like for you? I mean, did you have your old high school coach call you? How was that? What was the hype like, and what do you remember about it from old fans or friends or family?
So I would say everything is relative, man, because in the moment, the magnitude of it didn't really faze me because, you know, it was just another play I had made just for a different team. You know, I had been making plays, you know, since Mississippi State, and people blowing my phone up. So it was, and you know, that was no different. You know, it was, you know, you make a play, you know, you get back to your locker, you know, check your phone, people blowing your phone up, reporters want to ask you about it. So, like I said, relative to what I had done in the past, it was just like, hey, you know, just me playing football.
Well, I noticed the jersey back there. Is that what jersey is that actually behind you?
It's Mississippi State, man. It's my senior gift. You know, awesome. Back in the day, they gave all the seniors the jersey, you know, as a departing gift. So that's mine. I got all kind of jerseys around here, but that's the only one I got hanging up.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, let's go on ahead and talk about your final game there at Mississippi State, the one where you were the MVP of the Music City Bowl, and you actually had two very long runs against Wake Forest. Talk about that game and those two runs specifically, please.
We should have lost that game, to be honest. We had like 4 turnovers, man. Right. Anytime you have 4 turnovers, it's hard to win a football game. You know, I contributed to one of them. I had a fumble. But you know, I guess in the end, we just made more plays than they did. But as far as my 2 touchdowns go, they were awesome. One of them was, you know, so we knew Wake Forest liked to move around a lot because they were kind of undersized on the D line, so they wanted to use they had smaller guys, so more agility, you know, but you know, more quickness. So they try to use that to their advantage. But you know, it worked in our favor because you know, by moving around a lot, you create running lanes, and we was able to expose them. Really, both my runs, you know. One time, it was like the Red Sea had parted, man. And you know, I just ran. Nobody touched me at all. The second time, it was basically they over pursued they over pursued me, and I cut it back, and it was nobody in the backside, and took it 70-something yards. So had to make one person miss, but that's part of your job, But like I said, both of those touchdowns were relatively easy because of the way they played. They over pursued. They over pursued it, and they moved around too much. They never plugged their gaps, so
Yes.
we exploited it.
Vic, as a college player, getting to play in an NFL stadium like y'all did in the Music City Bowl. If I'm not mistaken, you were on that Gator Bowl team that got to play in Jacksonville as well. What's it like to play in stadiums?
Honestly, man, it was so much Mississippi State, stuff, and so much, whoever else was playing.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't even feel like the NFL stadium. It just felt like I don't know well, the Gator Bowl in particular, they allowed cowbells, so it just felt like home.
Yeah.
But when we played in Wake Forest, like I said, we had so many fans. It kind of felt like a home game. I didn't I never thought about I'm playing in the Tennessee Titans Stadium or the Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium. I didn't even think about it until I went back there because in Indy we play those teams twice a year. So
Right.
I was like, oh snap, this was the same locker room I was in last year, but just on a different team. So
Right.
yeah, so it's like you really I didn't think about stuff like that.
Who was the wildest guy on the team at Mississippi State while you were there, player or coach?
Man, we had a lot of wild players, man. You got to break them into categories because
Yes.
like we had a wild player for every category of being wild.
All right, I'll break down a couple of categories for you. Who was the wildest on the field?
On the field. I feel like everybody, we were pretty disciplined on the field, I would say, just because I think we was scared of the repercussions if we were acting out on the field. Our strength coach, he wasn't nothing to play with. But let me see. I would say Purdy and McPhee. He was probably the most, he was the most vocal, the most likely to talk crazy to somebody. But we had other players. They were reckless, like Nico Whitley. Like he was quiet, but he really didn't talk a lot. But it's like he was a solid assassin, man. It was like you never knew. You never knew he was plotting to take somebody's head off at any point.
What about who would be the wildest guy in the locker room or on the practice field?
Gabe Jackson. Like Gabe used to put candy in his football pants in practice. Like we would be in the middle of practice and he pulled candy out of his pants. Like, bro, where you get that from?
What kind of candy are we talking about?
It's like little candy with individual wrappers. It's just like little weird shit, man. He would always pull stuff out his pants, like, hey, bro, what are you eating? Where do you get that from? Who else? Man, it's like I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting a lot of stuff. But,
Right.
All right, if you're out celebrating after a win, who's the most out of control celebrating?
Man, look, that could be anybody. I'm telling you. Especially we used to go to Rick's, man, and at any given Sunday whenever we used to go out, Saturday rather, you liable to see somebody drunk, probably cursing somebody out, trying to fight. Teammates got to pull them to the side because they don't want them to get in trouble. Man, so many of the names. Some guys, if I say their name, you probably think I was lying, man. But yeah, man, it used to get wild. It used to definitely get wild. But me myself, I was never a big drinker, so I was sober looking at all this stuff. But
Right.
the people that was drinking, man, it was like, man, we got some crazy teammates. Good that they got somebody else with them, because if it was nobody else with them that was big enough to handle them, A lot of bad stuff would have happened, man.
Yes.
Who was the biggest ladies' man, Vic?
Man, if you ask anybody on the team, they probably say like themselves, because hey, because everybody felt like they all had all the girls, so me included. So I would definitely say probably Gabe Jackson. He called himself Big Smooth. He called himself Big Smooth. So that's his whole persona. When he's off the field, he feel like he's one of the smoothest big dudes around.
Well, I do have a question for you about your playing days and basically off the field. Josh Robinson, a little bit later on, his nickname was the bowling ball. Did they happen to give you a nickname that you went by there in the locker room and on the practice field?
Yeah, but nothing because of football though. It was like some of the most random stuff, man. So I had a buddy from my hometown that came up for a game, and it was so on this. I think it was like a Mike Epps skit. A Mike Epps skit. Mike Epps is a comedian.
Right.
And on one of the skits he did, he talked about a guy named Chicken Wing or something like that. And when my buddy came up to Mississippi State, he came over to my apartment, and my roommate was Charles Mitchell, and he told Charles, it was like, hey man, they used to call Vic Chicken Wing, back at home, which was a complete lie. Like nobody ever called me that. So Charles, being Charles, he went back to the locker room and said, hey, Vic didn't tell y'all his nickname is Chicken Wing. So eventually everybody started calling me Chicken Wing. And I was like, bro, why you do that? It's like, no, everybody's calling me Chicken Wing. Like it's not like one of those Josh Robinson nicknames where you get it from being, a bowling ball on the field.
Okay.
Hey, Vic.
What's up?
Share with us, what's the craziest recruiting story you've ever heard? Whether it be yours or somebody else's, it could be Mississippi State or another school. What's the most outlandish, craziest, like, really, that happened on your visit? What's the craziest recruiting story you ever heard?
Probably, I was on a visit with Cam Newton. So that one, because it was like, when it came out, the whole, 180 grand or something like that they were asking for, offering or whatever it was.
Yeah.
180 grand, they ain't offered me nothing. Like, hey, we'll give you a scholarship. I was like, what? We came on the same visit. Like, what room did you go in that I didn't go into? So that was definitely crazy. I was probably 19 at the time. 200, 180 grand. Like, they got that type of money here. That they gonna give. So that was definitely probably one of them. But you got guys. Especially in the NFL, guys, at that point they don't care. They'll tell you anything. Like, man.
Well, you don't have to share any names, but yes, it's your story.
Yeah. Guys, it's guys that play that state, like, get money. Like, well, I guess not necessarily recruiting stories, but some recruiting stories. Guys that got cars and stuff like that. Really, honestly, really, all of it. Well, I got one. I ain't gonna lie to you. All right, so, this guy, he was a. I'm not gonna name any names on the school.
All right, that's fine.
But so the school that he was going to, was like, I don't know, probably 10 hours away from his home. Right. Mm-hmm. Came from a family didn't have much, he needed transportation, to get around school. So he was talking to his coaches and, basically voicing his concern. He was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And ended up signing with that school. And probably, once he got on campus, probably 2 weeks later, went to a restaurant, and a car was sitting at the restaurant with a with a piece of paper in it with his name on it and the keys, under the floor mat, and said it was the car was for him. Just like little stuff like that. It's like you hear that story so many times, just told differently.
Yeah. Are we talking about a Nissan Sentra? Are we talking about a Mercedes? What are we talking about?
Oh no! It was a Tahoe. It was a Tahoe,
Wow.
nice Tahoe too. So that was back in 2010. I think the Tahoe was like in 2008. So it was fairly new. It wasn't like a clunker or anything like that.
How often do you usually get back up to Starkville to games?
Never, man. I think the last game I went to was maybe the Egg Bowl in like 2014. 2013. Egg Bowl in 2013 is the last time I went to a game. Just how life, my life been twisting and turning. I haven't really had the opportunity. But it's different now. It's a whole new coaching staff, a lot of unfamiliar faces. So if I came to a game, I wouldn't want to, look, I don't want to sit in the stands. I ain't gonna lie to you. I want to be on the sideline in the action.
Yes.
But I don't know if I got that type of pull right now to do so. So I really don't have much interest. Actually, I went back. So I didn't go back for a game, but I forget. I went back for a couple of different things, But like I said, one of the last times I went up there, I was like, man, it's not the same start of Mississippi State it was when I was there. It's a lot different.
Yeah. Hey, Vic, when you make it back, what restaurants do you hit up in Starkville?
Man, I haven't I haven't went to a restaurant, really since I was in school there. But this is one little barbecue spot that I used to go to all the time when I lived there. It's across the street. Well, you are familiar with Starkville, so.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what Wendy's is?
Yeah.
All right, so right across the street from Wendy's, it was like a little bitty like shed, like some type, like a shed somebody converted into a basically not a restaurant, but like somewhere where they serve food.
Yeah.
It was like a shed and a grill right next to it.
It's that outside thing right across from Wendy's, right there on the strip as you're going down.
Barbecue. That's Petty's.
What? Petty's. That's
Petty's
it.
barbecue. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Went there all the time.
That was my spot, man. That was my spot, man. I used to go there all the time. Yeah, I used to love that spot. It was another spot. It was like a little Asian spot. In the Cotton District? I can't remember the lady name, but every time I would come in there, she would I would address her by name. She would address me by name. But
Yes.
I can't remember the name of the restaurant or her. But I remember it was in the Cotton District.
Listen, man, we want to thank you for joining us today. We hope that you will join us again soon. And real quick, tell people how they can follow you on social media.
Hey, Vick Ballard on got Twitter, got Instagram, Facebook. Vick Ballard on everything, basically. LinkedIn, however you want to contact me, just type in my name.
Okay. Well, man, thank you for your time, and hopefully we can do it again soon, my friend.
Definitely, man.
All right. Thank you.
Take it easy.
Thanks, Vic.
All right. No problem.
Well, that wraps up the interview with Vick Ballard, and we really want to thank him for coming on,
Yes.
a.k.a. Chicken Wing. And so, Heath, I forgot to ask you before the interview, what are some of your most memorable moments of Vick Ballard as he was a running back there at Mississippi State?
He got in the end zone at Auburn game for sure. There on the road.
Yeah.
That one comes to mind. He was unstoppable in that Music City Bowl game. He had a great Gator Bowl game as well. He had so many great games. I mean, Steven, he's third all time in touchdowns in a single season.
Yes.
At Mississippi State. He was in the end zone a lot. He was averaging almost 2 touchdowns a game during his career there at Mississippi State. So he had just a phenomenal career at Mississippi State. But that Georgia game stands out. an egg bowl, 2 egg bowls stand out.
Yes.
So he had a great career altogether, and he was such a fun player to watch. But when I hear Vick Ballard, the first thing that goes through my mind is him in that overtime game against with the Colts, scoring that crazy touchdown. That was just a simply amazing, athletic. I've never seen anything like it. That's the craziest play where you just like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? And you watch it 4 or 5 times just in awe. It just amazes you every time. So, yeah, Vick is a tremendous athlete. And, I've always heard stories of he was such a humble guy.
Yes.
And we saw that today. We saw his personality come out. Vick Ballard's the kind of guy you want as your neighbor.
Yes.
He just seems like a phenomenal individual. And, you put the ball in his hands, the project in his hands, work in his hands, he's going to do it better than anybody. Vick's going to be highly successful in all that he does. So good luck on that engineering degree. And Vick's going to be highly successful when he gets out.
And a follow-up to that, Heath, it is a shame that he was injured for the majority of his playing time in the NFL, because he could have really been something up there.
If I'm not mistaken, Stephen, he was signed with the Saints a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And I meant to ask him about that, and I forgot. We'll have to ask him the next time he comes on. But, he was going to be there on the Saints, and I hate that didn't work out. Injuries just plagued Vick in his career. But, that seems to be the theme with running backs, that they're always injured, and their careers are cut short due to that. I mean, when you run the ball X amount of times a game, it takes a beating on your body. And so, but Vick, just a tremendous athlete, and everything that he did. I mean, he was fun to watch. You have a lot of everybody's talented at the college level, especially in the SEC. Everyone's talented at the NFL level, but some guys are not necessarily as fun. Vick was fun to watch.
Well, Heath, that's going to do it for this edition of the Stingray Show. What are you going to do for the rest of the week?
Baseball, a little softball, some t-ball. With all my kids, we're getting ready for spring sports. And so I'll be out in the yard, pitching, batting practice, doing all kinds of fun stuff.
I got you. Well, dude, I was trying to throw you a ball, but I don't have the form down.
Let me give you a high five there.
I can throw a football. I can't do a baseball.
Steven, here you go. You give me a high five?
Sure.
Yeah, there you go.
We screwed that up royally. That'll have to go on the bloopers. Anyway, the next time we actually... I'm sorry. Compose your time, guys. From all of us here at the Stingray Show, we hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And as always, God bless. The Dogs and Stingray are coming for you! This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Good afternoon, Mr. Feinbaum. Stingray here, and I'm about to shoot the bull with you like all the Auburn students do down at Auburn. Worst defense ever! So without further ado, here is the biggest... Alabama going for the field goal. The kick is up. It is away. It is no good. Chris Davis bringing it out of the end zone. Oh, he's got blockers. Chris Davis up the sideline. Here he goes. Here we go, guys. Dobbs back to pass. Launching the ball. Jennings. He's got it. Jennings. He's got it. Touchdown, Tennessee. They shocked the Dogs in Sanford Stadium. Are you kidding me? My God almighty, what an epic way for the Tennessee-Georgia rivalry to end this game. What a play. Wow.